3, 2, 1.
And, well, it's not that we're back. We're here. Welcome to another season of Pinehurst Dynasty Fantasy Football League. So instead of doing the usual write-ups, we are going to take advantage of technology and do it this way. So I got the Big Katt on with me. Say hi, Big Katt.
Hello.
Mike Smith.
Hello.
And these are your three co-commissioners. So what we're going to do this week is go through some stuff about the upcoming season. What I want to cover very first is, which we already know because the waivers just ran, but just remember, Thursdays, 10 a.m., waivers, get your claims in before that, done. If you miss them today, tough luck, but you can go pick people up on the waiver wire if you choose to do so. Second thing is, just as a reminder on our injured reserve, in this league, injured reserve is for players who are actually on injured reserve. So there's 2 spots for that. We increased total IR spots to 3 with the intention of opening that extra spot for a COVID player should you need it. So don't plug 3 injured reserve players on your IR. You can only do 2 and then leave 1 open for a COVID spot. We're on the honor system there. Don't fuck us over. Taxi squads. I'm sure you guys saw my email and all the shit bouncing back and forth, but basically that email yesterday broke it down. If you guys have any questions, reach out to one of the 3 of us. We can walk you through it, but that's the easiest way to let the site manage the whole thing. So that's kind of the housekeeping pieces that we have here to get through. Mike has informed me that there's only 1 payment remaining, which is great. And Mike, I believe you'll be contacting Craig Marconi.
Marcone will follow up with the delinquent owners.
Marcone bail bonds.
Rocco, help the judge find his checkbook.
So somebody out there, not any of the 3 of us and not Craig, can be expecting a call from Craig and his friend Anthony and a lead pipe. And then Derek, you want to let the guys know what we're doing here today?
All right. Yeah, quick overview. So if you're in our other league, Dave and the Big Katt got a little chatty, mostly the Big Katt. So I'm going to try to talk as little as possible during this one. Right. So today we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to break down the divisions. So 3 divisions. I am going to take the Ross. Mike Smith will take the Strants. Maybe we should talk about who that guy is because I don't even know. Maybe I'm
He's
just
the guy that designed Tobacco Road, bro.
Oh, well, there you go.
Jesus Christ. Who invited this fucking guy?
And Arnold Palmer. I do know that guy. That'll go first, and Dave will talk about that one. So, actually, why don't you kick that one off? I think we all know where this one is headed, but the Arnie Palmer division.
Well, Big Katt, let me be the first to tell you that you may be surprised where I land here. So, Arnold Palmer division, we have Kenya Digs It. It's the Big Katt. We have Sin City Sitcoms, Billy Mack. We have Lord of the Slum, Mike Goldberg. And the Black Leg, Craig Marconi. God bless him. Here we go. So at quarterbacks, I have the cream of the crop. This division actually has the 2 best quarterbacks in the league. Lord of the Slum gets the nod over Blackleg. He's got Pat Mahomes. Can't go wrong there. But Blackleg's right behind. He has Lamar Jackson. So he's the 2nd best quarterbacks in the league. Third, I have Sin City Sitcoms. I like the combo of Aaron Rodgers and Josh Allen. Josh Allen, well documented, not a great real quarterback, but a fine fantasy football quarterback. And Diggs, I have him as the 4th best quarterbacks in this division with Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Teddy Bridgewater. I like Kyler. It's not that Derek's quarterbacks are bad. I just struggle to get excited about Baker Mayfield and Teddy check down Bridgewater. So moving on to running backs, I think there's another clear clubhouse leader here, and it's the Black Leg again. He's got Saquon Barkley. Obviously a great player. He's got Leonard Fournette. He's got Cam Akers, who in my opinion is going to take the lead in that backfield at some point during the season. And then he also has Gibson, the rookie from Washington, who looks to be most likely in line to take most work in Washington. So not technically, but potentially he has 4 starting running backs, which in this league with the depth that we have is incredible. Number 2 in running backs, I have Lord of the Slum. He's got Zeke and Carson, 2 great starters there. His other 3 guys, Marlon Mack. I think Marlon Mack will be more valuable earlier in the season. He's got Kerryon and AP. I don't like much about the Detroit backfield, so fuck it. The third best, I'm going to Sin City. He's got Mixon and Todd Gurley. I think Gurley's underrated. I think he's going to actually have a pretty good season. Joe Mixon, hard to get excited about him, but he's always like a top 8 guy, so pretty good. Other running backs are terrible. He's got Sony Michel. Who knows what's going to happen in New England? And he lost out on the Fournette deal. He has both Rojo and Keyshawn Vaughn. Not a lot of value there. Big Katt really is just rocking 1 running back, so he's got the weakest running backs in the division over on Diggs. Josh Jacobs, great player. Love him as a running back, but Singletary and Dobbins. Dobbins has potential. Singletary, I think, is going to trend down. I think that Zach Moss is going to take over that backfield. So I have Blackleg, then Lord of the Slum, Mixon, and then Big Katt bringing up the rear again. Now we're going to flip it. Talking wide receivers, Big Katt obviously has a ridiculous wide receiver core. Michael Thomas, Odell Beckham, Amari Cooper, Kenny Galladay, DJ Moore, and Stephon Diggs. Best receivers in the league, easily the best in this division. Billy Mack over on Sin City. I have him as the second best. He's got Godwin, he's got Sutton, A.J. Brown, A.J. Green, Pittman from Indianapolis. So pretty good group there. Lord of the Slum is my third best. But I have Lord of the Slum and Blackleg pretty far behind the other 2 guys. So Lord of the Slum has Landry, Golden Tate, Alan Lazard, Brandon Cooks, Cole Beasley. Okay. And then the Blackleg doesn't have a great wide receiver crew. He's got Ridley out of Atlanta, who I like a lot. He's got Slayton, who I don't know. Then he's got John Brown, Preston Williams, big play guy, so not bad, but who knows how that Miami offense is going to work. And then he's got the Old Man River, Larry Fitzgerald. He's got Josh Gordon, suspended, and he's got Chris Hogan, who's a great lacrosse player, so not great. Tight ends. I got Blackleg. He's got Mark Andrews, and he's got Gronk. Andrews is a great tight end. Gronk, I think, has potential to be a part of that offense. So he's got an established guy and then a high upside guy, kind of where you want to be. Number 2, I have Sin City. He has Waller and Ebron. I don't know. Like, Waller kind of faded at the end of last year, and Ebron, again, who knows what his role in Pittsburgh is going to be. Lord of the Slum, I have him third. Jared Cook and Blake Jarwin? Is it Blake Jarwin? Jarwin. Dallas. Whatever the fuck his name is.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not excited about either one.
It stinks that I have to pronounce these guys' names because I just say them in my head and they're all completely wrong, but I know what they mean. And now I have to speak them. I sound like an idiot, which is a problem.
And then bringing up the rear on tight ends here is the Big Katt. He's got Mike Gesicki, who people seem to love this year. I personally don't see it,
seeing it,
but people are fucking all over him like he's a top 12 tight end. And I'm like, all right. I mean, so if that works out, then things are going to change in this hierarchy. But like personally, I don't see it. And then he's got Ian Thomas and Tyler Eifert. You know, Eifert, I don't know. I drafted him too. I thought he was going to have a role in Jacksonville, but fuck it. So, okay, now we're moving on to defense. Defense is strong. Like, it's really hard to rank defense in my estimation. I think Derek has the best defensive line with Nick Bosa, Josh Allen, and Melvin Ingram. All 3 big sack guys. Sacks are what you need out of D-line to get big games. It's just hard to pick which one you're going to start. Not to say that the other guys don't have good starting lineups, but I just personally like Derek's setup there with 3 high caliber pass rushers. Over on the linebacker side, again, I lean towards Derek and the Diggs team. He's got Zach Cunningham, who I personally think is going to become a defensive superstar. He's already a star on that team. He's going to be an NFL superstar after the end of this year. He's an excellent player, super fast. I'm looking forward to watching him play tonight and see what he can do against Travis Kelce, but really, really great player for Houston. And then he's got Tremaine Edmonds out of Buffalo, who is also an excellent football player. Billy has Bob Wagner and Corey Littleton. Shaq Thompson. So Las Vegas and Carolina are going to stink. So Thompson and Littleton will be on the field a lot. And then, Lord of the Slum and Blackleg have, good guys to start, but nobody that really gets me going there. Defensive back, I mean, it's pretty much, I have it all the same. Derek has Keanu Neal, Sin City has Landon Collins, Blackleg has Jordan Poyer. All those guys are the same guy for me. They're all great players. Ward of the Slum has Antoine Whitfield, so he's got a rookie in Tampa Bay. So I don't know. I mean, he was a great college player, but most guys in the NFL are. So that's it. So bottom line, when I add it all up, it's actually very, very close. But I think that you guys might be shocked to hear that I have this division going to the black leg. I have the black leg by a nose over Derek. Whoa! So there's the first bold prediction of the day. But I think his running back situation could be as advantageous as the wide receiver situation for Diggs. And if he ends up with Barkley, Fournette, Akers, and Gibson all as starting running backs, then that covers up the warts that he has at wide receiver. And if Gronk works out, like I think he will, then he could start 2 tight ends, 4 running backs, and only has to sprinkle in a couple wide receivers every week. Whereas, if something happens to Josh Jacobs, Derek almost doesn't have a startable running back, but he's going to have to throw one in. And the wide receiver depth is always going to be there, but that's always part of the plan. And Lamar Jackson's the X factor there. So anyway, that's what I got. I got Blackleg. I got Diggs as the second best team there. I think Diggs is still going to be a playoff team. And then Sin City, I have very close. And then Lord of the Slum, I think, is going to be an also ran in that division. Sorry, bottom line, Mikey, I love you, but I just think that you're not going to be able to get it done this year with that team. So that's what I got for that division. I hope that didn't ramble too long, and I'm going to turn it over to my brother and league counsel, M.F. Smith, Esquire. Did you use the Esquire?
I haven't, but the new Bill and Ted movie is coming out. I may revisit.
Is it just like once you have your law degree, you can use it if you so choose?
Apparently so, yes. And Notre Dame has, of their own volition added it when I indicated that I have a JD. Everything that comes to me has Esquire on it. And I feel like a dickhead when I get it. So
assholes.
Well, I am an asshole. So thank you for the kind introduction.
No, I was saying Notre Dame's assholes, but
well, so am I. Anyway, all right, so on to the Mike Strantz division. I'm going to take a slightly different approach here. I'm looking at the teams as a whole as opposed to position groups across the teams. So I apologize for anybody who's going to miss out on that piece of the analysis. But within the Mike Strantz division, we had a very competitive, run at it last year. Gary Sanders, Dave Smith, Bill Cosby Sleepers, Andrew Gabrielson, Team Traz, who is still quite welcome to change their team name, Craig and Kyle Traz, and Beaver Tamers with our boy Dominic Sinibaldi. So I like what all of these owners have done in the draft. Last year, Dave won it at 8-5. Bill Cosby Sleepers was edged out by Bobby Wagner performance on Monday Night Football and ended up in the losers bracket with a 7-6 record. And Team Traz and Beaver Tamers both finished 5-8, but both teams, a couple of breaks go another way, and they could have been in playoff contenders. They both put up pretty good total points for the season and had individual weeks that made their teams look really, really strong. So starting just kind of in the order they finished last year with Dave's team, I mean, when you're starting off with Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry in your backfield, it's a great starting point. Miles Sanders, a guy I really like. I think he has a huge amount of upside if he can stay healthy. And if Philadelphia can, I don't know what to make of that team this year. I kind of think I like them, and they're in a weak division, but I don't love any individual guy other than Sanders. So we'll kind of have to see how that develops. Behind that, Corey Clement hanging out as a handcuff, not bad idea in case Sanders does miss time. McKissick, Allison, I don't know how to get excited about that, but I think that's his number one position group as a whole. And that wide receiver, it lacks a little bit in huge name sizzle, but I think he's got a lot of really steady contributors, right? I consider Allen Robinson to be his best guy. We'll see when Mike Williams kind of comes back, but I like him as a potential upside dude. Where does Emmanuel Sanders fit catching balls from Drew Brees and competing for touches with Michael Thomas? Hard to say, but the dude's been, he's been productive pretty much everywhere he's been, and this will be the best quarterback he's caught balls from in a long time. So I like that. Tyler Lockett is just a steady, primary target out of Seattle, and I don't think he's going to lose a lot of touches, even if DK Metcalf kind of emerges as more of a number one target out there. And Will Fuller's a guy that, like, when he's healthy, you love, and then he'll miss half the season. So can he fill that gap while Will Fuller's on IR? Yeah, hard to say. At quarterback, Matt Ryan is my favorite last quarterback to draft, a guy who is going to produce every single week. They're probably going to have to throw from behind a lot, and garbage time counts just as much as a close victory in a low-scoring game. I don't think they'll be involved in many of those this year with a lousy defense. So I love Matt Ryan as a steady contributor. He may not be, as sexy a pick as the top quarterbacks, but I think he's easily a top 10 quarterback week in, week out. And that kind of steady production goes a long way. And then at tight end, Austin Hooper, I want to like the Browns, but boy, I just don't know what the hell to make of that offense or that team in general, right? Stacked up with all sorts of talent, but God knows if they'll do anything. I don't think Njoku's as bad as his numbers indicate that he was in that offense for the last couple of years. And so, plenty of potential for him to be a super productive player, but you can look at what happened in free agency, and Dave's stacking up the old timers just in case any of those guys can revive their careers and give him a little bit of depth at tight end. So who knows? Defensively, I like what he's got going on. Minka at the back end and Tracy Walker, real nice safeties. I think he's got, dudes who he could start both of those guys most weeks if he wants to. But Dupree, I think, has potential to rack up a lot of sacks for a Pittsburgh defense that ought to be very good. Who knows if their offense will put enough pressure on teams to, put them behind consistently so Dupree can really get after the quarterback. But, Van Der Esch and Kirksey are nice linebackers as well. And DeMarcus Lawrence, I like. Brian Burns, not sure what to make of it. So, took a blow when Derwin James went down for the season yet again. So, real drag that such a talented player is going to miss his second season, and, kind of tough to see an injured reserve spot like that. And then, hey, I like the taxi squad has filled with potential. Tua ought to be the starter at some point in Miami. They'll play from behind. He seems to be a talented dude. If he can get it together quick, that's another great quarterback on the roster. Having the handcuff for Derrick Henry with Evans is smart. Arcega-Whiteside can't be as bad as he was last year. I like him as a stash. I like Paris Campbell to potentially break out. So, I think Dave built another solid team, really, built around an outstanding backfield. Andrew, I think his, real place to shine is at wide receiver. I think he's got Devontae Adams, which is a consensus top 2 wide receiver. And then behind that, he's got a nice stack with Michael Gallup catching balls from Dak Prescott and a bunch of other guys like Marquise Brown, Cooper Kupp, Curtis Samuel, who can, be steady high-end contributors all season. James Washington, who knows if Big Ben's who he is and Washington emerges as a second or third target in that offense, he can be a big-time contributor. A little grab bag with Callaway out of New Orleans. Anybody catching balls from Drew Brees has got potential. And Kendrick Bourne, whatever. His quarterback with Dak, I think, is great. Cousins gives him some stability if he needs to, cover an injury or bye weeks. And Jordan Love's got, who knows who he'll be in a couple of years if he takes over for Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay turns it around offensively. That could be a great pickup long term. So I like that as a, kind of rookie stash. Running back a little bit thinner. I do like Aaron Jones this year, even though I do think he's kind of a system guy, and I don't know what it's going to look like if he leaves next year in free agency. So as a keeper, I don't know, but for this year, I like it. Getting Dillon as his backup, I would prefer to Jamal Adams, so I like that idea. But then David Montgomery, I just struggled with in Chicago. Raheem Mostert, might be the Raheem Mostert we saw at the end of last year, but also might just fall to fourth in the depth chart where we all thought he was going to be last year at some point. Shanahan spreads it around a lot at running back, so a little scary. Edmonds, Hill, just guys to have around. Either one of them could emerge, but I'm not expecting much from them. And then his tight end situation, a lot of kind of just a grab bag. 4 on the roster, all of them have upside. None of them have clearly established big-time tight end roles. So lots of shots on goal. We'll see if any of that emerges. Defensively, he's only carrying 5 IDPs. He's got a guy like Devin Bush who's just a freak, and I love. They're all good players. They can all contribute, and he doesn't face a bye until week 7. So if he can, get good productivity out of them, I think he's in a great spot. And, it won't be hard to find IDP spot contributors in free agency. So a really solid draft. I think a ton of talent at wide receiver. We'll see if the depth at running back catches up for him. That takes us to Kyle and Craig Traz. Team Traz, I mean, that's a dynamite start in the backfield with Dalvin Cook and Nick Chubb. Kind of falls off a cliff from there. Tevin Coleman's a guy I think could emerge to take Raheem Mostert's job, but he could also just go nowhere on that depth chart. Frank Gore and Carlos Hyde are almost as old as I am, which is not a good thing to say about a football player, but damn it if they don't just keep contributing. So it's possible they could get some points out of those guys at some point. Duke Johnson's a guy who, who knows what is going to happen in Houston's backfield. By week 8, Duke Johnson could be the number 1, and he's got some talent, and that could be an okay offense. So I don't know. And Chris Thompson, Jacksonville's backfield's a mess. Why not Chris Thompson as the starter? So it could get stronger, but they start from a great place. Wide receiver, it's a little thin. T.Y. Hilton, I think, nice player. CeeDee Lamb, huge upside. I just love that guy, but, I don't know if he's going to get the touches early enough to really be a contributor. And Robert Woods, a guy I don't get excited about, but super productive. So, carrying Sammy Watkins and Corey Davis, I don't know about that, but either one of them could contribute. Tyler Boyd's a nice player in Cincinnati. So some pretty good depth, not elite, but, a lot of potential at that position. He does have the stack with Jared Goff and Woods. Those guys have the stack on the Rams. So maybe, and carrying Tom Brady is not a bad idea. So offensively, not bad. Evan Ingram and Chris Herndon, they've got the New York area locked up at tight end. Like either of those guys potentially. I don't love either one of them. So, could be contributors, but with the backfield they've got and the wide receivers may not need them. Big names on the defensive line. Who knows if they'll emerge? Carrying 4 of them and Sue, Dunlop, Garrett. Not going to work here anymore. Could be great. I don't know. Von Miller going down for the season. That's a tough blow at linebacker. And since linebacker tends to be a big productivity, very, very productive position, we'll see if they make some moves in free agency. This is a team that has historically not done much in free agency, but I think they're going to be forced into that with the injury. And Hayden and Thompson on the back end, not bad. They're using their taxi squad for what it's there for. Who knows? Jalen Hurts, nice college player. I don't see him as an NFL quarterback, but if he emerges, fantastic. Kerryon Myers, Renfro. Renfro's a good player. We'll see how long he lasts on their taxi squad, but they already have some pretty good wide receivers. So. Beaver Tamers, Big Dom, looking solid at wide receiver. Again, Julio, Smith-Schuster, Keenan Allen, Randall Cobb. Somebody's going to have a role in Houston catching passes. It might as well be Cobb. I like Ruggs as an upside guy in Vegas. Sterling Shepard's a guy I think is going to catch a lot of balls from Daniel Jones if he stays upright. I guess there's good talk about Valdez-Scantling and, so nice wide receiver depth for Dominic. And given that you only need one starting running back, that works. Speaking of not much depth at running back, James Conner, kind of a low-end top running back. And then he's got Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor. So kind of all in on higher-end rookies. If either one of those guys breaks through and becomes the number 1 in their offenses, I think they got huge upside potential. But at least for the first few weeks, I think it's going to be hard to tell when it's safe to start those players. Gio Bernard, Boston Scott, I just can't get excited about those guys. Scott, I just don't believe in, and I think it's just
those guys still play football.
His background, yeah, that's what I said. So we'll see. Those guys are an injury away from being contributors.
That's what I was going to say.
But I think they're an injury away from being contributors. And with the wide receiver depth, he may not need that many offensive weapons at running back. Quarterback is stacked up with 3 dudes that I think are almost entirely fungible, and I'd like to have any of them on my roster with Wentz, Stafford, and Rivers. So, he can stream matchups with that. He can cover injuries, and he is stacked up to make a good trade when a frontline quarterback goes down inevitably sometime in the first few weeks of the season. So I like what he did with his quarterback depth. He got the homer pick and Hunter Henry, a guy I think, could finally fulfill his potential. And with the Chargers at tight end, and then Hayden Hurst and Giannu Smith could contribute at tight end. So don't hate that depth, but not the elite tight end. Defensively, he's got a lot of nice players. TJ Watt at linebacker for Pittsburgh, I think, could be hugely productive. But, Jones, Evans, Simmons are all great football players. Adams, Johnson on the back end, and Buckner and Bosa on the front. I mean, like a really, really nice starting set of pieces there. And, he's got the homer pick in Justin Herbert, a guy I really like with the Chargers. If he becomes a starter and can take advantage of some of the offensive weapons he's got around him, that could be a great pickup. Having Benny Snell on the bench to cover up Connor, I really like. I think Snell could be better than he was last year. And Irv Smith, nice guy who's got potential to, kind of break out and fulfill his potential at tight end in Minnesota. So I think these are really good football teams. I have this as a really, really kind of close race overall. I think I have to give the nod to Derry Sanders and Team Traz as kind of the top two by a hair. When you start with Christian McCaffrey, I think that gives you a big leg up. And both of those teams have nice depth at the starting running back position. I know wide receiver is sexy right now, but a steady Eddie, big contributor at running back, I think gives you a great baseline to work with in case anything else comes up throughout the season. So I've got Derry Sanders slightly ahead of Team Traz. The Bill Cosby sleepers a tick behind, nice wide receivers, but kind of lagging a little bit, hoping the grab bag approach at tight end comes away as a winning strategy. And there's just not a ton of depth at running back, so it might work out, but he's really leaning really heavily on steady production from a nice wide receiver core. And Beaver Tamers is like just a toss-up hair behind. A little weakness at running back may come back to haunt him, but I mean, if Moss and Jonathan Taylor emerge as lead backs by week 4 or 5, I mean, he's just going to be stacked at that position too. So really good division. These are guys who scored a lot of points last year. Derry Sanders, number 3 overall. Team Traz, number 4 overall, despite not making the playoffs. And teams that were kind of good from an efficiency standpoint last year, Team Traz was the number 2 team in getting points out of their starters. So very, very competitive division, and I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Are we doing week 1 games, or are we going to do that later?
We'll do that later.
I'm going to do.
Okay. I ran over time, but I'm done.
The
Derek.
Donald Ross division. So, it's pretty interesting. Kind of to Dave's point, I thought I knew who was going to be good, but as you go through these rosters, it tells quite a different story. I'm not in love with my team whatsoever. And I think the no snake draft, I really think that had a lot to do with it. As I look through this, I think some of the bottom teams last year are looking really strong this year. So,
For sure.
I'm going to give, obviously Mikey hooked on a Thielen, won it all last year. As we were going through the draft, I thought he was having a good draft. But I'm not a fan of his team.
I've already locked up the first overall pick for next year. So aside, folks.
My team too was pretty good last year. I'm not a fan of it. But what I would say is that in my division, the Palmer division, I think if you take Lord of the Slum out of there, he's got some work to do. I think the remaining 3 teams are better than any team in this division. So I'll say that. I will start at number 4 with Pure Goldberg. All right, number 1, you got to change your name because I think it's Goldberg's team every time I look at it. I've done that every single time I've opened this website for the last year. So change your name. So, but I'm gonna have to put you at number 4 here. Bussing. The probably the best players on your team are the ones that I traded you last year, and everyone gave you shit for that. So that's not entirely true. But Austin Eckler,
mostly me that gave him shit for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe there was some comments from the peanut gallery from Hulk Hands too, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So 4th in the division, I'm going to put Goldberg there. He's got Jamison Crowder, Hardman, Chris Jones on the defensive side. Drew Brees, a quarterback, hey, I think that'll work out at the beginning of the season. But he's really missing that marquee, top flight player in the lineup, and I'm not seeing depth to counteract that. So I'm going to put him 4. I do obviously like Austin Eckler, but I don't like anything moving down from there. Besides Kittle, I should put Kittle up there because he is probably, in my opinion, the best tight end in the game, fantasy-wise and football-wise. The guy's a complete animal. So I really like him. 3rd in the division, I'm going to put, surprisingly, Mike Smith. As I go through hooked on a Thielen's lineup, you like Russell Wilson, but the running back starters just really aren't doing much for me. Melvin Gordon, I think, is probably the best one long term. Hopefully he returns to form. They paid him a bunch of money. I think they're going to use him. And he's a good player, but, Jordan Howard in the Miami backfield, that ain't going to be good. Mark Ingram is 31, I believe, and is going to have a huge week this week. There's no doubt about that in my mind. So kind of weak running back depth, but then you get into wide receiver and you don't really have, the studs to counteract that. Devontae Parker, I had bad experiences with him for many years, so I got mad when he produced well for a stretch last year, but can he keep that going? I just don't know. Travis Kelce, Cleveland native, complete stud. So that's a good spot there. So I'm going to put Mike Smith 3rd in the division. Solid defense, but nothing to write home about. Surprisingly, I'm going to put Hulk Hands 2nd in the division. So I kind of got Mike and Bussing as kind of the bottom rung. I kind of have R. Kelly's Funhouse and Hulk Hands as the top end of the division. Hulk Hands, as we were going through the draft, I thought he was compiling an amazing team. I don't know what I was thinking during the draft, but his team's good. Don't get me wrong. I like his squad. You got Kamara, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Hopkins, who I'm not high on, but again, that's probably because I've had a bad experience with him a couple times. Zach Ertz, from a dynasty perspective, it doesn't look like he's getting a deal in Philly. So, we'll have to see what happens there. But overall, pretty solid. His defenders, solid again. Probably the best player is Warner from San Francisco, but I guess he's got the COVID. So I don't think he's playing this week, is what I heard. So he's going to miss some time, but look at my roster. The whole roster is missing time already, and we haven't even started. So that brings me to the surprise in the division, R. Kelly's Funhouse. I mean, you look at this guy's starting lineup. He's got a stud quarterback. He's got Lev Bell, who isn't great, but is his 3rd running back. You got Kenyon Drake. Edwards-Helaire is going to be a complete stud this year. I bet you he puts up huge numbers tonight. Now, Mike Evans is a little dinged up, but his overall wide receiver is not bad. He's got Kirk and Jerry Jeudy. He's got solid defenders, though. That's really what gave me the tiebreaker here. I like Chandler Jones. He gets lots of sacks. Obviously, Leonard is the number 1 guy out there. And he's got Tyrann Mathieu in the back to really solidify what I think is a pretty solid starting lineup. So I got Goldberg last. The name is Goldberg. It's actually Bussing's team. So we covered that. Hooked on a Thielen 3rd. Hulk Hands 2nd. R. Kelly's Funhouse top of the division just by a hair. I think is really pretty close, but that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
There we go. Very nice. Are you guys prepared to predict division winners and 3 wild cards, or do we want to not?
I can make it up as I go. How about I start?
Good. I was planning on doing it.
Sure, I can do the same.
All right.
So I'm going to predict division winners. I'm going to go R. Kelly's Funhouse, as we just talked.
Okay.
There's holes in that lineup, don't get me wrong, but I think there's holes in that division. And I think he's got some top-end producers. So I'll go R. Kelly in a surprise there. In my division, I'm picking myself because I'm butthurt about Smitty's analysis of my team. But it's going to be close. I mean, honestly, Blackleg's team is really good. Mackeson is number 1 on my mortal enemies list. But his team is for completely fucking me last year. But his team's really good. So it's going to be a tight division.
That was great.
The Mike Stranson, I remember this now. He's the guy that designed Tobacco Road, and we lost him too early. So it's all coming back now. You know, I'm going to give that one to Derry Sanders as well. So those will be my 3 division winners. I'm going to take myself out as the bye, so I'll be as the 3rd seed. And then the wild cards, I'll need 3. I'm going to pick Hulk Hands. I'm going to pick Blackleg Craig, and I'm going to pick Sin City Sitcoms. So that is no wild cards in Smitty's division. And I'm going to save my Super Bowl winner for the end. So who wants to go next on the divisions?
I'll have a run at it, and then Dave can try to figure out how to add something new. So he's going in order. They're listed on the website. In the Donald Ross division, I'm going to actually give the nod to Hulk Hands. I think R. Kelly's has a great roster. I have faith in Joe Wallace putting in the work to close the gap and win that division. So I'm going to go Hulk Hands and Donald Ross and Arnold Palmer. I agree this is a real close one, but I'm going to go with Blackleg Craig winning that division just based on the roster. Again, I think Gabe's going to outwork him potentially, but it may be too big a gap in the talent there to close it. And in the Mike Strantz division, going with Derry Sanders. Christian McCaffrey wins that one for him. So as far as wild card teams, I think Team Traz is going to continue to post a lot of points. They got a really good running back core, and they had so many bad matchups last year where they were the 2nd or 3rd highest scoring team in the league and lost. I just don't see that going against them again. And so I anticipate that they'll find their way into the playoffs. R. Kelly with the stacked up lineup, having drafted first this year and already having a good core to go from, I think that roster is going to make the playoffs. And I think there's no doubt Kenya Diggs it. If he doesn't win, the Arnold Palmer division makes the playoffs. So we'll put him in as a wild card, but it wouldn't shock me at all if he gets a bye, as he did last year with the top overall record and point total. I don't want to predict anything else. It's too variable this far out. So those are my 6 playoff teams, Dave.
There we go. Pretty much the same here. So Ross division, I have Hulk Hands. I like Joe in that division. Palmer division, I have, as I mentioned before, the Blackleg by a hair over Diggs. I don't think Diggs is bad. I just think Craig. I like Craig's team. I like him a lot. And then in the Strengths division, obviously, it's going to be me. My team is kind of fucking good. I'm not going to lie. And then our wild card teams, I have Diggs, Sin City, and R. Kelly as being my 3 wild card teams. So really, I mean, honestly, between the 3 of us, the only team that got traded in or out was the Traz boys. Mike thinks the Traz boys will get home, but aside from that, it's kind of a consensus for us for the top at least 5 teams. So, but you know, this is definitely going to be wrong, and we haven't talked.
We'll see if any of them make the playoffs.
Yeah, honestly, but it's always interesting to see how things sit here on the first day of the season. And we'll see from there. So next up, we get to talk about our weekly games. And why don't we do this as one of us will take the game, talk about it a little bit, and give our picks, and the other 2 just will agree or disagree with that pick. And that should save us a little bit of time getting through things. So I'm not going to cover my own game. I nominate Derek, since he's upset with me, to cover my game. Beaver Tamers versus Derry Sanders. What do you got, Big Katt?
Let me scroll to it real quick here. So Smitty's offense, I think, is stacked. I'm not a huge fan of his defense. but I'm going to pick Smitty in week 1 over Beaver Tamers. He's just got too many good players in the lineup.
There we go. That is the way that I have it going also. Mike, any different idea there?
Nope. Wish I could say otherwise. I've got the Beaver Tamers dropping this one.
Okay.
Interesting that he's going with the 2 tight end approach there and starting Boston Scott. I mean, I think that's just too risky. Beaver Tamers ain't going to win this one.
Yeah.
Although it will be interesting to see if, TJ Watt's 5 sacks are offset by Minka Fitzpatrick's 2 pick sixes. I think that will be fascinating.
Should be fast. It should be an interesting Monday night game, that's for sure.
As the Giants roll out the red carpet for Big Ben's return in a 55-0.
Let's be honest, though. Dom takes some risks every single week.
He does.
Just look at his Tinder profile.
Yeah, he's a risk taker by nature.
He's an auto right guy. Pure numbers. Pure numbers.
He's a carpet bomber.
65, no problem. 66, no problem. Just swiping right.
Yeah. Sure, whatever. Mikey, why don't you take the Hulk hands at R. Kelly matchup here?
Completely unprepared for this. I looked at the division I
right
covered, so I'm scrolling to it.
I have good analysis if you want.
Yeah, you start with it.
So R. Kelly
somebody owned that
versus Joe. I think this is an interesting one, right? But I am actually leaning towards, and I have a caveat. If Mike Evans goes, then I'm leaning to R. Kelly here. Let me tell you why. Kenyon Drake, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell. I know Le'Veon Bell has to deal with the Bills, but he's never going to be better than he is this week. And if Evans goes, I actually think that R. Kelly has the horses to get past Hulk hands this week. If Mike Evans doesn't go, R. Kelly doesn't really have anybody to backfill that's worth a shit. So that could be a kind of a big hole there. So I got R. Kelly's pulling it out over Hulk hands here in week 1. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
I'm going to agree.
I think I'm going to say the same, but we're going to learn. I mean, this will be a game where we're going to learn a lot tonight in Kansas City. Both teams have some of their higher end players going here tonight. So exciting to see these guys get out of the gate and set a tone for this matchup. But I'm going to give the nod to R. Kelly's. I mean, if Edwards-Helaire goes bananas, I don't think Tyreek Hill is going to be able to close the gap.
Right.
Yep, I'll agree. Yeah. I think a big performance from Deshaun Watson tonight in a losing effort.
Very nice. All right, let's go talk about Blackleg at Lord of the Slum.
All right, I'll take this one real quick since, I didn't do it, but I've been looking at Lord of the Slum's team. It's pretty interesting. He has one of the highest projections on the website, which it's really bad. Patrick Mahomes is going to have to blow up for Lord of the Slum to win. I'm not as big on Blackleg's team as you two are, so I'm going to go with the upset in week 1. I'm going to pick Lord of the Slum. He's my captain on Call of Duty, and I'm going to take him this week.
Oh, respect. I see it. Yeah, I'm going the other way. I got the Blackleg on this one. I do like his running back situation. I don't know if Cam Akers is going to pan out this week, but I love the future prospects. But I think Fournette could tear up the Saints, and Barkley is Barkley. But yeah, I mean, I could see it going either way, I guess. But I'm just going to lean Blackleg. Blackleg.
I think I'm
not.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, that wouldn't be a problem if you was.
Not you, Black Doug. Hey, easy with that.
The course of over the course of the season, I think Blackleg Craig is going to be the winning lineup here, but he's got some key pieces going against the Steelers defense. And I know it's a homer pick, but I just don't like that matchup for Barkley and Slayton at all. Lamar Jackson, I just am not sure he's going to have to do all that much to win that game. And so I do think Lord of the Slum's got a good shot this week. I mean, I think folks are sleeping on Brandon Cooks. If Houston's going to move the football and Fuller's going to be hurt like he always is, I think Cooks is like only 2 years removed from being a top a consensus top 5 wide receiver, I think, when he was with the Rams. So, like, I know he hasn't produced lately, but I like that. Golden Tate's as likely as Slayton to get catches against the Steelers secondary. I like Lord of the Slum this week for an upset.
Ooh,
that is nice. All right, next matchup is Can You Digs It taking on Billy Mack and the Sin City sitcoms in a real blood match here. A rematch of the semifinals in the winners bracket last year. Derek's out for fucking revenge.
Well, I can't go first on this one, so why don't you
yeah,
go?
Well, Mikey, you could take this one.
All right, I'll try. I mean, so I'm going to pick Can You Digs It just as a pure, furious rage revenge pick. As I look this over, I am way lower on Kyler Murray than anybody else, but I've hated this guy since he was at Oklahoma, and I'm certainly wrong on that. I mean, I understand where the points could come from with him, but I think Cliff Kingsbury's a clown, and I just am not in love with his ability to take advantage of the tools that they've put at his disposal. Josh Jacobs, love him. Mari Cooper, I like that matchup this week. Diggs, like, I understand he ought to be good. I just worry about Josh Allen actually getting him the ball. Galladay, love it. Michael Thomas, love it. I mean, just a lot to love on that. And if Murray does what he ought to be able to do, that's going to be tough to overcome. That said, like, I think we're all sleeping on Todd Gurley too. Like, I mean, until he breaks down in that Atlanta offense, I like him. And so week 1, big fan. Sony Michel, is he even playing? I thought he was hurt forever.
I think they took him off the report.
Okay. Well, if he plays, who knows? I mean, I'll just warn Sony Michel owners, if you're Jonas Gray, you can run for 4 touchdowns and 200 yards and be cut the next week by Belichick because he's him. Mixon, AJ Brown, like, he could go off for everything. He may not have a catch. Godwin, we'll see if he's got chemistry with Tom Brady. Like it if he does, but he could be a forgotten dude if Brady doesn't dig on him. I don't know. AJ Green, like, if he's healthy, great. Sutton, nice. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's going to take good effort from all of Diggs's tools, but I think Diggs, it starts with a head start here. If everybody delivers kind of on target, I've got Diggs winning this game.
Normally I pick against myself, but I'm going to have to, as I go through this, I'm going to have to pick myself on this one.
Yeah, I got Diggs
but
also.
Billy Mack's defense is really strong, like really strong.
Yeah, I should have addressed that. And, getting Bobby Wagner back after Wagner's, performance on Monday Night Football pushed him into the playoffs. A nice little retention strategy of getting him back.
Yeah, nice. All right, so we have Team Traz, the Traz boys at the Bill Cosby Sleepers. So, I mean,
I broke this guy. I hate to do all the talking. I mean, I'm happy to break this one down because this is one I was looking at. And, I think this is a lot of chalk, right, based on the, division breakdown as far, who these guys are starting. But a couple of head scratchers for Team Traz trouble me. I think it's risky to rely on Chris Thompson as a starter. He's supposed to be a third down back, and he's playing for the worst team in the league. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that works out, but it's like I'd like to see somebody else in that spot. And Sammy Watkins, I mean, I guess this might be his 1 week where he actually performs this season. Why not this week? But I can also see him getting 8 snaps tonight. So I worry about chewing up 2 starting spots with those guys. Otherwise, it's the same stuff to like that we talked in the initial breakdown. And Bill Cosby sleepers, Prescott stacked with Gallup. I like that a lot. I think Hollywood Brown will have a nice week. Cooper Kupp, Curtis Samuel, a lot of good players. And from his tight end grab bag, he went with Dallas Goedert. Very nice. I think Devin Bush could have a huge night against the Giants. And I think he's got a lot of steady producers, assuming Raheem Mostert has the role he had at the end of last season going into this week. I think Bill Cosby Sleeper's got a pretty comfortable run here this week.
Yep, that's where I got it too. I got Bill Cosby in this one.
I'll take Andrew as well.
There we go. Consensus pick. Look out. Sure to be wrong.
Yep.
All right, and our game of the week is always our defending champion, who is with us today. Mike, congratulations.
I was going to say, how did this one become game of the week?
Just
There's
because
the answer.
I had to nominally pick it, and what's the game tonight? Super Bowl champ, Kansas City Chiefs, right? So our game of the week over on the factory was our Super Bowl champ. Game of the week over here is our defending champ.
Well, this matchup decided playoff seeding last year, late in the season. So
this matchup reminds me of Thursday Night Football in late October, where the Titans go to visit the Jaguars. So it's just a pile of shit going. Actually, that's not true at all.
Thanks for the compliment. I really like my roster.
Yeah. I really wasn't aware that it was this bad with these two teams. Like, it's not good. I'm not trying to play it up for production value. It's not good. It's really bad.
My team is terrible.
It took going through this for me to realize that, like, Mike, I don't know, your team is like a little struggle bussy, and Brian's is not much better. But in this matchup, I do like pure Goldberg, Brian Bussing. Maybe we should change the name of his team to the Struggle Bussing after he loses a few games. But, he's got Eckler, who, I like Eckler. He's starting David Johnson, who I think is going to be pretty good in Houston. And then he's got Chark and McLaurin at wide receiver, who I like better than who Mike is rolling out there. And then George Kittle is always a great start. This is a battle of the tight ends game, though, with Mike having Travis Kelce, who gets to go tonight. If Kelce blows up tonight, it could go the other way too. But I just think it's more likely that Goldberg is going to be able to hold off, that Russell Wilson, Adam Thielen, Kelce onslaught, because the rest of the guys on Mike's team, I don't know. So, I'm leaning pure Goldberg here, boys.
All right, I'm going to take hooked on a Thielen. As I said, wasn't a fan of Mike's team, but I'm just not a fan of the starting lineup that Bussing's trotting out here. His wide receivers are real bad. That's the only way to say it. Really, really bad. Like Crowder and Hardman, he can score points. You just never know if he's going to.
No, he's not gonna unless Tyreek Hill gets hurt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like starting, it's like me starting Alexander.
It's like a Hail Mary start, and that's never good to start the season.
Watch him get like
he's going to have 220
for 120. Yeah, two catches, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He'll have a punt return.
He'll be the top scorer this week, and we'll look like assholes, but whatever.
All right, so you can mark me down for hooked on a Thielen.
Hooked. All right.
Mike Smith is currently 6th
I'm gonna go
on my mortal enemy list.
Soon to move up.
Yeah.
6th. I'm just envisioning, Steve Buscemi and
with the lipstick.
I got a list and everything.
Kill list, right? Yeah, I have.
We'll introduce that as a segment next week.
Turn the camera.
People to kill by the Big Katt.
Very nice. All right. Well, I'm going to go with the Big Katt strategy of picking against myself. I think Budda Baker and Roquan Smith will put up, and I think his defense is going to outscore my defense by a mile this week. And that's going to dig a hole that I don't have the personnel to overcome. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Devontae Parker only scored 5 points in the first 5 weeks of the season. I didn't believe in that guy until I accidentally started him, and he had a good week, 1 week last year. I mean, Julian Edelman and Cam Newton chemistry, not likely. I don't know. I mean, I hate my team so much, and I don't think Melvin Gordon will be a starting running back come week 4. So I hate my team intensely, and I think we'll start the run toward the first overall draft pick this week.
You're already putting yourself in the Trevor Lawrence lottery.
I am rolling the dice on tank for Trevor.
Yeah, there you go.
You heard it here first.
All right. Well, I think all that's left is to crown a preseason champion. So, Big Katt, seems like you have somebody in mind. Why don't you lay it on us? Who's going to put their name up on the wall of fame here for the second annual Pinehurst Fantasy Football League at the end of 2021.
I've been picking against myself for forever now, so I'm going to pick myself. Fuck it.
Shocking.
That's shocking.
I am
He's already anointed himself
pretty much
winner of
awesome at
all
everything.
drafts he's done this year.
I got a new ball marker. In fact, I got like 6 of them in my basement now. They all say champ on them, so I'm going to pick myself.
Must be true. There you go. Mike, what do you think?
Keep saying it. I'm going to keep it in the family and crown Derry Sanders as our league champion this year. I just like the running back depth and the ability to close any potential gaps on the roster with savvy free agent moves. I think he's got enough firepower to run the table this year.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do the same thing. I think it's me. I think I have a great team. I have good depth.
Wow. You two are a pair of douchebags.
Sorry, dude.
It's unbelievable. They picked their own goddamn team.
Honestly, it took going through the entire league for me to feel strongly enough to go ahead and say it. But I think I got a good team. I got 2 guys that'll be probably brought up from my taxi squad as injury fill-ins. I got 3. What I think are going to be 3 of the top 6 running backs in the league this year. I'm a big Miles Sanders guy. So I think my team's going to run over the.
So I think we'll just invite the other 9 owners to come on in the next couple of weeks and make their pitch for why their team is the championship team. I will abstain because I can't even make that argument with a straight face. My team is fucking steaming pile of dog shit, and it's not going to get any better.
All right. You want to cover the Big Katt's gambling corner real quick?
Give us some good news, Derek. We're rapidly approaching the old.
I'll just throw out one pick here. You go ahead and take Baltimore -8 and just double whatever amount of money that you have.
Big Katt is giving you the home mortgage gambling guarantee on that one. 5 stars.
Go to your local bank. Take out as much as you can against your home and put it all on Baltimore.
Legally.
Beat the Browns, correct?
Yes.
That is the right
the
right matchup. Yes. That is the stone cold lock of the week.
So factory guys will know this is a repeat, but I'm going to give my 6-pack here for the Dynasty League. I like tonight Kansas City. I like the over 53.5. So bet that. On Saturday, we have the Fighting Irish taking on the Dukies. Don't be afraid to lay 20.5 points. The Irish are going to blow their fucking doors off. Boom. If you really want to do it, maybe even hit the over. But I don't know if Duke is going to score enough to get over 50. I think it's 54.5 or 55 right now. So, but lay the 20.5. Irish are going to kick ass. Let's go with the over on the Lions and the Bears. Over 43 right now. I'm going to see some points there. I think the defenses are going to wear out in the second half.
Well, Trubisky will throw 4 touchdown passes to the Lions defense.
He's due, man. He's due. He always plays great against the Lions. So Philly.
That's 28 points toward the 40-some-odd line.
Yeah. I think the Eagles are going to go down to Washington and take 5.5. I see them covering a touchdown there pretty easily. So go ahead and take the Eagles -5.5, and also take the over there because despite his turnover problems, I do think Dwayne Haskins can move the ball a little bit. It's only 42.5. I think that game's going to go over. Finally, Sunday Night Hammer, Pittsburgh -6. Don't be afraid to bet a road favorite. The Steelers are going to butt fuck the Giants. I think the Steelers are going to come out hot. I think that offense is going to be good. And I think one of the biggest things what I don't like about the Giants, especially here in week 1, is that they have a new coaching staff. They had no OTAs. They had no training camps. Yeah. They have a young quarterback. It's going to be tough and shit could go sideways in a heartbeat. Steelers defense is ferocious. We could see defensive touchdowns. We could see any kind of fucking thing on Monday night. So go ahead and take the Steelers -6. Lay those points. Don't get away from it unless it gets to 10. I like the Steelers big on Monday night. You heard it here first from your boy Smitty.
Bang it.
I'm here to kill your bookmaker. I'm going to kill him. All right. That's what I got. So good luck this week to everybody. Except
in the tradition of car talk, you've wasted a perfectly good hour.
Yeah. Except for Dom. Fuck him.
Thanks for bearing with us. Hope you enjoyed this. Good luck to everybody except Bussing.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Oh,